Hello everybody. Today we're going to create these necklace set um, made from leather, and this part is made from Stretch Magic, and this one you can wear up a little. It's a choker a little farther on your neck, and this one would go right below it. And this is beads from this month dollar bead box. The bead here, the pin in the pendant, and the amber colored check twisted rondelles, I think is what they called them, corrugated rondelles. And then I've also added a button and some other check glass uh, bronze beads, some little tiny 2x3 crystal rondelles in between. I've also used the spacer beads we got in this month's, in the front here, in this month's August dollar bead box. So just pull out your stash and, um, you know, I'm sure there's beads from previous boxes that you could use for this. But I used a 2mm leather lacing and made these series of walnuts, and then put a loop and hooked my pendant, and I silk wrapped a clasp onto it, and I knotted the button on, and it made a cute little choker. And so I'm going to go through the materials list with you for this necklace. You'll need some, you don't have to use 2mm, you can use 1.5mm also, leather cording, some kind of nylon cording to do the silk wrap at the end if you want this closure, one head pin, one bead cap, and then a bail or and here's one of those like figure eight style connectors. Could use that, or just a simple bail, or even a larger jump ring would work. I've got the rest of those little check drops that we got in this month's box. Excuse me. I'm going to use some of these rondelle beads. Forget, what they're, what brand or anything. I forget what they are. I've had these for quite a while. I've got some magnesite turquoise beads. I'm using the zebra striped table cut bead check glass that we got in this month's dollar bead box. And I've just got some crystal rondelles, maybe 4x6. And then I've got some tiny, looks to be 4mm spacer beads. And I think that's it. Now, also Stretch Magic. This is 1mm diameter, and it's a little big. You might want to get the smaller diameter, because in the end your knot will be visible because the holes aren't large enough for this to go up into. But it'll be on the back of the neck, and it's clear, and you can barely see it. You also need some glue. I used E6000 to glue that knot. I also am going to use these A-Dot Silverline Aqua check beads that we got in the dollar bead box last month, I believe. And I've got some black agate heshy beads. And I think, no, we're going to need some, of course you're going to need some scissors. You're going to need some round nose pliers. You're going to need some something to cut this wire with, your red pin with. Some wire cutters. And I think that's it. So gather your materials, come back, and we'll get started. Okay, everybody, I want to show you how to start the walnut necklace. So you're going to fold your leather lace in half. Start at the bottom and make sure you find the middle. So here's the middle. Okay. Let me adjust my camera a little bit. And here's the middle. Now, see, all I'm doing is just putting my finger right there on the end of that because I want to keep a little loop to hook my clasp through. So this leg, we're going to start with the right leg, and it's going to come down. It's going to come down and loop around like that. See, you just got to loop. Then you're going to take the left leg and bring it through the loop. In the beginning, it's kind of hard to work with because it's so long. But so we brought it through the loop. Then we're going to bring it around and behind everything and back through. And then we're going to pull both sides equally. Slide it down. Until we have our first knot. And then it's just the same thing. You're going to come down and loop. It's going to come down and loop around like that. Okay, then you're going to bring this left leg through the loop, and while still holding, bring it around behind everything and back through that loop, and then pull. Slide them up close to one another. And pull and pull, a little at a time, and then you have that. Then we're going to do another one. We're going to do 6, and then we're going to skip a spot. And I'll show you how to do that. And then I'll leave you on your own. We are going to make 4 stations of 6 knots on one side, and 5 on the other. So we're going to make a total of 9. Okay? 9 stations. There's 3 knots, wall knots. I'm going to get you to the part where I show you how to skip and around. Okay. And you know, sometimes you have to play with a little bit to get it even. There's 5, one more. Loop it around. Bring the left leg through. And back behind everything. And through. And pull, 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 pull. And there's 6 knots. And then make sure it's as tight as the rest and not more. See how that's smaller? I don't want that. I want them all the knots the same size. So we'll loosen that up a little bit. Alright, and then how I'm going to do this is I'm going to put my thumb right there, and then I'm just going to continue my loop, pulling it through, around and through, and pull. And I'm just going to inch it up a little bit. Here we go. And then just continue on. You make 5 more knots, and then skip a spot. You know, put your thumb there about that wide. After you make your 6 knots, skip a spot, and then do 6 more. And you're going to do a total of 9 of these stations. Now, if you're using a closed jump ring, if you're using a closed jump ring, you're going to have to put on your put it on before you do your knot. Like this here. Mine wasn't closed on this one, but it was on the first one I made. So we're going to do this kind of closure. So it's going to add more to one side. So on one side we're going to make 4, and then we're going to put if it's closed loop, go ahead and put it on before you make your 5th station. And then we're going to make 5 on the other side. 4 on one side, your loop, and then 5 on the other side, okay? Alright. When you're done, come back and I'll show you how to end off and add your button and your clasp. Okay, first, I'm not going to use the bead cap. I decided not to use the bead cap on this. And so I've got my pendant, the bead that I'm going to use for my pendant, and I've put on my head pin. One of these rondelles, and then a little silver spacer bead. And I'm going to take my pliers and hold to the very top of the beads, and then I'm just going to bend my head pin over at an angle. Then I'm going to take my round nose pliers and I'm going to come in and hold and then bend my wire back. So then we have this. A funny shape. And then I'm going to put it on the bottom of the plier and bring it around and up underneath, up underneath of that plier, and I made a loop. It's like a little scarf around the neck of it, sticking back like that. Now, don't forget to, if you are using a closed ring, don't forget to go ahead and put this on before you wrap the loop. I'm going to use this little figure 8 connector, so I don't have to worry about that. So you come in and you grasp the loop with your pliers, and then you just wrap your wire around the neck of that head pin, and these pins are very hard, that I've been using for a while. I'm hoping that the next batch I buy will be softer. They're very hard to work with. And just continue to put at least 2 wraps, and then use a pair of flush cutters and cut that little tail off. Oops. And then squeeze in any part that might be sticking out. Alright, now that's ready, and lay that aside. Now take out your leather. Let me get this untied and I'll be back. Okay, we're back, and we've got 9 little sections made, and I was pleasantly surprised that I had more leather left over this time than I did last time, making the same amount of sections. So I guess maybe I didn't have a piece as long as I thought I did. So 3 yards will be plenty, even to make the loop closure. So we're right at our last section here, and so we're just going to put the button through one of the legs and slide it up. Okay, and then we're just going to continue with 2 of these walnuts. Wrap it around and bring it back through the loop. Pull. Make this one as tight as you can to hold that button tight. And one more. Pull it right up against the other one. Now, you can put a little glue, E6000 or GS Hypo Cement, on these. You could actually put it on there before you made your last walnut, and it will hold. You don't necessarily have to glue it. It's a pretty sturdy knot, but I would, just to be sure. But I didn't bring my glue close, so I'm just going to go ahead and glue it later. But then you just want to take your scissors, and I angle cut. I just leave, you don't have to leave any of the leg, but, and you know, shoot, we should have, before I cut it, I should have maybe strung on a bead, a small bead, and then tied a knot at the end too. You could do that. But we're just going to clip these ends. And then that's your button side. Now, for the closure, you're going to take a piece of leather and you're going to make a figure 8. Okay? One side is going to connect with this side. Actually, we need to slide this through first, through the loop on the other side of your necklace. And you're going to just make a figure 8. Kind of, you know. And then this side needs to be big enough to fit around your button, of course. I want to try to make this side smaller than what it is. Okay. But you want enough in the middle to where you can, when you silk wrap, it'll be, you can always cut the other end off after you're done silk wrapping. So then make a loop that fits your button. Okay. Make sure your button fits through it. And then just cut off a little bit of excess, and you can finish trimming it after you do the silk wrap. And it's called silk wrap, but you don't have to use silk to do it. I take a piece of this, whatever you're using. I got nylon cord, and you leave a tail down this way and a loop up this way. It's hard, it is kind of hard to hold all this together, but you'll manage. And then you're going to wrap towards the loop with your cord. You're going to start say here. Well, make sure the button's going to fit. So get a grip on it. And then make sure you wrap neatly. A little farther. And then, cut the cord off and leave another little tail. Put the tail through the loop, holding it. And then you're going to take this first end that tail that we started with, and pull that tail up underneath your silk wrap. Sometimes you got to pull pretty hard, and you'll feel it when it pops underneath there. the loops underneath there. This tail, you can trim it off, you know, if you can't get it all the way up in. Okay, you can trim it off just like you do the rest, and that's a very secure closure. So let's trim this, show you what it looks like. There's that. You can even burn these ends since it is nylon so they don't fray, and it'll melt, you know, melt right into the, disappear. And show you. And there is our closure. Oh, I gotta trim one more piece of leather. Okay, so there's our little bits and pieces. And get them moved. There is the closure. And see, that makes it pretty even, both sides even, and that's where we will hang our pendant. And gather your pendant and your ring, your connectors up, and come back and we'll do that part. Okay, I had to cut that off and start over and make a bigger loop, and it's not a wrap loop. I could have, if I really needed to make a wrapped loop, I would have gotten a piece of 22 gauge wire and created my own head pin. So there we go. I'm going to stick it on one side, and let's see, do I want to clamp it? 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to I put my last one, it looked better over top both pieces of leather. So let's see how we're going to hang this one. Jewelry making and designing is trial, you know, just trying out things and seeing what looks better and what you'd prefer. Trial and error. Alright, I need to open that up a little more. Nice and sturdy. So it's going to lay like this. There. I probably should have put the part where, well, I put it in the front instead of in the back, but really you can't tell which is the front and which is the back after it's closed. I'll just like straighten this up a little by squeezing. And there's that. Okay. Now you're going to take out your Stretch Magic or whatever stretchy cord you're going to use. And we're just going to make a accessory, you know, almost like accessory to go with this. Just a stretchy little pop of color. So you need to think up whatever pattern you're going to use. I'm going to use the rest of these little drop spacer beads that we got in this month's Dollar Bead box. I normally I start from the center and work out, so I won't cut this cord so my beads don't fall off, and I'll start to center, working on the center, and then after I do cut it, I'll just mimic the side I completed. Okay, so we'll start with one of these, and normally you have to pick them up, place them on this stretchy cord. So go one of those, then we'll do a heshy bead. Come on, go through. Sometimes, you know, you have to test the holes. Now I did test the holes in these heshies, but there could, you know, they're gemstone, and there could be some with bigger holes than others. Now the 8-aught seed beads that I was going to use as little spacers wouldn't fit my cord. Like I said, this is a 1mm Stretch Magic, and it's good because it's durable, but it's not the greatest because for stretchy bracelets and stuff like that, because when you tie the knot ends up being pretty big. Alright, I'm working this through. This one was pretty tight, but I got it to work. I was hoping that didn't happen. That's the way I chose the beads with bigger holes, because the one I made yesterday, those little 2x3 rondelles took me forever to get on this. And then we'll do a crystal rondelle. Hold on. Yeah, for this we'll do the crystal rondelle and one of these bigger rondelles, and then a magnesite. I think I've had too much coffee. I'm shaky. And then another rondelle. And then a crystal rondelle. And then a heshy bead. See, that one went on easier. And then this is going to be the front, so we're going to use another one of these little drops. Now, after I after I run out of these little drops, I will use these little other little silver spacer, bumpy spacer beads for the rest of it. This is just the center, a little bit different, you know, a little bit different. But this will be the pattern I probably stay with all around. So just continue to add your beads until your necklace is big enough to where it just pretty much fits right on the inside of when you lay your necklace out. It'll lay right on the inside, and that should be plenty big enough because it is stretchy. Oh, don't forget, when you use the Stretch Magic, make sure you stretch it out really good. That way it don't stretch out of, it don't stretch out of shape when you're wearing it as much. All right, everybody have fun stringing. Get yourself a cup of coffee and just string. And then when you're done, come back and we'll tie the knot and put it together and look at our necklaces. Okay, here we are, and we have it knotted. We have all of our beads strung on our stretchy cord, and then all we do is just tie a couple overhand knots. I left my cord a little short. I cut my cords a little short, so bear with me. I should have maybe already did this off camera. We'll see. And then after you tie your knots, you're going to pull really tightly. And then tie one on the other side. And then you're going to leave these little ends on, and you're going to put a little bit of either the GS Hypo Cement that's got the little needle tip, and do it right with the tip and put some glue and the key spots in your knots. Or you're going to take a little GS Hypo Cement, put it on a little baggie, a little drop, use a toothpick, and put your glue on. And then you're going to let it set overnight to set up real nice. And then you're going to cut. Then you're going to cut these off, clear up to the knot. That way, the knot will be there, but it'll be basically, you won't be able to see it, really, because it's clear and you've got clear beads. Well, I have clear beads on. The knot goes back here. So there it is. We're all finished. I guess I'm calling it the Summer's End necklace. That's just what came to mind, because it is a summery necklace, and it's still summer, so it's called the Summer's End necklace. I hope you had fun making it. I had fun coming up with the design, and I really think I like it a lot. So keep your eyes open. I'll be putting up more tutorials. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. That way you'll be notified of all the new videos I post. And thanks for watching, everybody.